Yo, this is Fonz
and Quan.
and welcome back to another show. Listen, if you're on social media, primarily Facebook, go search Back Porch Sports Podcast War Room, where we are always chopping it up. We got special things going on. And, you know, even if you're a Cowboy fan, or like my man, he's still a fan, we'll still welcome you in there, you know.
Watch it. Also, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment on our YouTube channel at Back Porch Sports Podcast. We're there every week, and we would love for y'all to be a part of it by dropping your comments. If you want to be notified of when that video drop, which is also weekly, hit that notification bell right over to the side. Mm-hmm. And anything else you want to add?
Man, I ain't got nothing else, man. Go on, kick that theme music. Hello there, people, and welcome back to the baddest show in the universe, and that is the Back Porch Sports Podcast with your man Fonz.
And Quan.
Well, how's it going, man?
Another day on the green side. That's about it.
That's it. We woke up this morning, so that's a reason to be grateful.
Amen.
So let's go ahead and jump into the topic. Y'all already saw all the information at the top. We've been sitting on this topic for a minute, and I'm just chomping at the bit to go through this here. So my question is, and we won't be before y'all long, but who or what is responsible for the 28-year-long failure of America's team? The Dallas Cowboys. Who did it? You mind if I start off? Okay.
Go ahead, brother.
All right, I'm going to start it off. So, the Cowboys fall into the Green Bay Packers in these playoffs that just finished is the latest of a long list. And I do mean it's a long list. I got the list right here. It's a long list of Cowboy blunders in the postseason. In fact, these same Cowboys have went 28 straight seasons without making it past the divisional round. I think we emphasized that point very well in our recap video for that Green Bay Dallas game. I'll have it up in the corner somewhere so y'all can go back to that one. Let's talk about the 90s. Now, let me start off by saying this. Tom Landry, Jimmy Jones are arguably the greatest Cowboy coaches in the history of that organization. Tom Landry was there from day one. So they had an owner by the name of Tex Schramm. He was a geezer, you know, in Cowboys. They didn't do much in the 80s. So by 1988, I believe, Jerry Jones bought the team. He bought it for the cheap, too. He bought it for a few $1 million, which is, and that's back then money. In today's money, we already know. So let's talk about their dynasty of the 90s, because honestly speaking, I got to give credit where credit is due. The Dallas Cowboys were the team of the 90s. The Buffalo Bills could have been the team of the 90s, but that is a whole other show. From 1991 to 1995, the Dallas Cowboys in those playoffs were 11-2. They convincingly beat the Jim Kelly-led Buffalo Bills 52-17 in Super Bowl 27 and 30-13 in Super Bowl 28. So they went back-to-back against the Buffalo Bills. They finished 3-1 in NFC Championship games in that stretch with a 2-1 record against the San Francisco 49ers, arguably the team of the 80s, led by one Hall of Famer, Joe Montana. And they had a 1-0 record against Green Bay in that time span as well. And that was when you heard the phrase, and I quote, "How about them Cowboys?" That was coined and popularized by one Jimmy Johnson. Since 1995, they're 4-11 in playoff games. Since the 95 season, they're 4-7 in the wild card games and 0-4 in the divisional round. Dallas was 1-3 in the playoffs from 1995 to 1999 as the 90s dynasty began to crumble. So I want to say around 96, that dynasty started falling apart because you started seeing teams, especially expansion teams like the Carolina Panthers, who the Dallas Cowboys lost to in the playoffs, by the way, started to come up, especially for the NFC. They had one more run against the Pittsburgh Steelers and won that Super Bowl. That's because they acquired Deion Sanders. Everybody knows about that, especially if you are 35 and up. So going back to their head coaches, since 1998, Chan Gailey, he was 0-2. Bill Parcells, the great Bill Parcells, the tuna, he was 0-2 in the playoffs. Mike McCarthy, he's 0-1. Well, that's an old stat now. He's like 0-3 now. Wade Phillips was 1-2. Jason Garrett was 2-3. So Jason Garrett had the best record out of all 5 of the past Cowboy head coaches. The timeline, this is crazy. So 96, divisional round playoffs, they lost against Carolina Panthers. 98, lost the wild card round to the Arizona Cardinals. 99, wild card round loss to the Minnesota Vikings. 2003, arguably Carolina's best year, well before the Cam Newton MVP year. They lost the wild card round versus those same Panthers, the Steve Smith-led Panthers with Jake Delhomme at quarterback. I think that particular Panther team went to the Super Bowl, and they went up against the Patriots. 2006 lost in the wild. This is the infamous one, the whole Tony Romo fumble the snap, try to run it in. That game, they lost the wild card round 20-21 against the Seattle Seahawks. In 2007, they lost the divisional round to the Giants, who went on to go to and win the Super Bowl, regardless of how improbable it may sound or may look at the time. 2009, they lost to the Minnesota Vikings again, 3-34. 2014, lost to the Green Bay Packers. 2016, lost to the Green Bay Packers. 2018, lost to the LA Rams, and it was all the divisional round. 2021, lost to the 49ers. I believe that was a divisional round as well. 22, lost to the 49ers again. I believe that was the divisional round as well. And 23, this past year, they lost to the Green Bay Packers. Here's my problem. Well, here's my question. We see the problem. The problem is they don't do well in the playoffs. With all that being said, in my humble opinion, a lot of determining factors caused that decline. First, Jimmy Johnson. You fired Jimmy Johnson. I believe, and y'all could quote me on it, I think, and it's an easily looked up statistic or bit of information. Jimmy Johnson, after winning the Super Bowl, Jerry Jones got up there. He was drunk, by the way. Got up there and said any coach could have won with his team. I think they three-peated, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So my main culprit out of all this is the man in charge, Jerry Jones. He's the reason. Now, don't get me wrong. Jerry Jones is a shrewd businessman. He took the Cowboys from mediocrity in the 80s and turned them to the team of the 90s. It all catapulted off that humongous trade, a trade that most GMs will not do today. They traded Herschel Walker to the Minnesota Vikings and got a boatload of draft picks. One of those picks happened to be Emmitt Smith. They already had Michael Irvin on the team. And I think they drafted Troy Aikman with those picks. I can be wrong about that one. But Jerry Jones and all the good he has done for that franchise made them the most valuable franchise in the world, in any sport. Increased their fan base. Jerry Jones is the Emperor Palpatine of the Cowboys because I feel like he's running them, slamming the dirt, and it's my opinion. He will not get a Super Bowl until he's in hospice. So you can go ahead and take that.
Well, I think I agree with the Jerry Jones take. He had a huge issue with signing bona fide coaches. I think Jerry Jones loves to hire yes men as coaches with no backbone. But this franchise, and this number probably went up, but being a $5 billion franchise with the inconsistencies and no Super Bowl within the last 25 years, I think says more about Jerry Jones than any coach that probably has been hired. Or so I think it's Jerry. Also, I think it may be a little bit of the players that they do have. I think Cowboys made a mistake. And this is going to be real good for the comments, but I just don't think Dak Prescott is the guy for them. I don't think he's going to be the guy to get them a Super Bowl. Now, they had arguably a pretty good defense for the past. I mean, pretty good offense for the past at least 2-3 seasons now. Nothing to show for it. Now, we just talked about all the teams that they faced in the playoffs, and they lost to a lot of teams over and over again, like the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers. They was mentioned at least twice for a playoff loss. Yeah. But it's definitely Jerry, and I don't think they have the coach, Mike McCarthy. Let's be for real. Mike McCarthy may have been in a great light because of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers made that man look okay, until the end, until it was time for him to departure. He kind of made him look okay. Why? Because they was in the playoffs. Now, whether that was because of Aaron Rodgers, I think so. I think Aaron Rodgers had a lot to do with that. He's a very consistent quarterback, and he made him look good. But why would you sign that? Why would you make him the head coach when he couldn't have success with a guy that didn't turn over the ball, had, just a great quarterback around, and he couldn't do nothing with it? What makes you think that he was going to come to Dallas and win y'all Super Bowl? Also, my problem with Jerry is that he doesn't act as an owner. He acts as if he's the offensive or defensive coordinator. When asked about his team, I think early on this year, about where he thought they would be at and how he thought his team was doing, he answered saying that, how confident he was in Dak Prescott and, where they were and how many games I think they could win and stuff. All that stuff do not need to be said. You don't see a lot of owners of franchises having so much to say. And I think he's the reason why the Dallas Cowboys, first off, gets a lot of attention, because not only are they quote unquote America's team, but they have a lot of opinionated people like Micah Parsons, like Jerry Jones, just people that keeps them involved in media. Now, and I think that has a lot to do with the people that they hired to be over their locker room. Mike McCarthy may not have a lot of authority in there to say what he wants to say, or if he says anything. Again, like I said before, I think Jerry Jones loves yes men, people that clap their hands and just go with the flow. And it's not winning them anything. So I definitely agree with you on Jerry Jones, but I also think it's somewhat of the players too as well. Like I said, I don't think Dak Prescott number 4 is the answer for the Cowboys. Now, I don't know whether they'll be able to draft his replacement or even look for his replacement in free agency. They kind of stuck with him. But I bet if they could replay that whole situation where they had to either pay Zeke or Dak first, it's a possibility. I think it would have probably been Zeke. And Zeke fell off. He went out looking like a chickmunk with no food, and came back looking like a pack rat. So I don't know, but I just don't think number 4 is it. But I do concur with you on the Jerry Jones thing.
Yeah, because like I said, Jerry. I mean, and it pains me to say this, but Jerry Jones has done a lot of good for that organization. It's an unpopular opinion, but it is what it is. Like I said, he made them valuable. Even when I was a kid, like NFL 4:00 game, 4:25, 4:15 game, because we ain't had cable. It was always the Cowboys. It was always the Cowboys on TV. So he made them marketable. The problem is he assumed the role of GM. The problem is his front man or his head coach really don't have no say.
Right.
Because if you notice, if you look at the past maybe 5 to 7 years of that coaching staff, right, it was always an internal hire.
Mm-hmm.
Between Parcells and McCarthy, there's Jason Garrett. Now, in my opinion, he kept Jason Garrett around too long. Because if you remember, the Cowboys were going 8-8 like it was nothing. So, and it's crazy. And two, I kind of blame the decline of the Cowboys on their fans. Not the sensible fans. Not the one, it ain't many of them, but not the sensible fans, the ones that understand football and understand that Jerry Jones is not that guy that he was. He's a businessman, yes, but he's not that shrewd businessman he was back in the day. I'm talking about the delusional fans, the ones that, they are beating their chest when they winning. But as soon as they take a L, it's fire Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones needs to sit down. He need to go and retire. Cowboys this, Cowboys that. Don't get me wrong, y'all were great. Couldn't really, honestly, in the era before salary cap, couldn't nobody mess with the Cowboys for like the 4-year stretch. Could nobody touch them. The cocaine Cowboys, Mike Irvin. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying. Thanks. So after Jimmy Johnson, there was head coach Barry Switzer. That part there got kind of murky. Y'all know Steve. Y'all know it's not Steve, but y'all know Skip Bayless, right? So he was a Cowboys beat writer back in the day, and he wrote a book. And in that book, he said that he felt like that not Tony Romo, but Troy Aikman, how can I say this to be politically correct, played for the other team.
Mm-hmm.
And that sparks something. So, there's ongoing beef right there. Then you got Barry Switzer, who was pretty much a hype man at that point. And him and Troy Aikman was beefing. So that kind of slowed stuff. But he won the Super Bowl. The problem lies, at the end of the day, it lies with Jerry. I felt like back in the 90s, once he saw, like when Michael Irvin got in that trouble, he held on to that core too long. He kept them around for a minute. Like, yeah. I think the last time they all played together was like 1998. And I want to say 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cowboy fans, let us know in the comments. What do you think? Because I could go on and on about your failures, and I can go on and on about your successes. Because y'all were a great team. But here's the thing. That everybody, at some point in time, when you get too big for yourself, you fall from greatness. Look at Lucifer. Right. He fell from greatness. Because he wanted to be something that he could not be, so he fell from greatness. But here's the thing. In my opinion, though, if the Cowboys, if Jerry Jones was to hire a GM that knows how to GM,
it'd be good.
That team would be outstanding. And I halfway agree with the Dak Prescott take, simply because he does put up numbers. The fact of the matter is, the core around him is getting old.
When you say core, what do you mean by that?
First, let's talk about the offensive line. The offensive line, back in 2014, that
That
year,
sound like the golden years of the.
yeah,
You
yeah,
talking about
yeah,
the golden
yeah.
years of the offensive line?
DeMarco Murray rushing for over 2,000 yards type stuff. That offensive line is in shambles now because everybody's older. You a 300-pound offensive lineman. You're paid to block defensive linemen and linebackers, and sometimes a blitz and corner or safety. So at the end of the day, that's wear and tear on you. But again, y'all keeping that the draft. You can always find gems in the draft. It's hard, yes, but you can always find gems in the draft. I mean, you got a quarterback who's arguably the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. He was drafted in the 6th round. You got a wide receiver who would have kept his head on straight and who would have stayed out his own way. He will arguably go down as one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. I still think he's one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. It's just that his career was cut short because of extenuating circumstances. So,
great way to put it.
I had to be nice. I had to be really correct about it, politically correct. But at the end of the day, my point is Jerry Jones is the number one culprit. He's the number one culprit because he's always out in front. I feel like that.
You don't never let nobody be more bigger than him. It's like he's pretty much he's the star on that helmet. That's what it is.
It would not shock me if they put his silhouette on that helmet at some point. The way it's going. And then you got Jerry Jones as the culprit. Some of his decision making, some of it was good, some of it was horrible. But at the end of the day, you got as much as 31 other teams and other fan bases can't stand the Cowboys nor their fans. You got to tip your hat to the business model. Because I'm going to be real. I wish I did have Jerry Jones money. That's just, and I'm just calling a spade. If I had just a quarter, not even a quarter, let me get 30% of what he brings in yearly because of the brand of that team. I guarantee you. So the financials is there.
Oh yeah, the money it's not there. The money ain't the problem.
The financials is there.
Charge of the money.
It's the wins. It's the success. It all, when the 90s turned over to the 2000s, whoosh, it just flushed down the toilet.
Yeah. And then another reason why the clock is slowly ticking on the Dallas success today.
Yeah.
You got a quarterback that's almost in year 9. Year 9. Now, we've seen quarterbacks play for 17, 18 years. But
20
years, right? Yeah, 20 years. And still be him, and still have success and win Super Bowls, play, be in playoff games or whatever. But I don't know, man. I definitely, not saying he doesn't put up the numbers. He just came off a great season. Dak Prescott, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I can't even, but that, we just talked about them having the third easiest schedule. But nevertheless,
I mean, you got to play who's in front of you,
he had a great season, but I'm talking about that postseason Dak Prescott. Yeah. That postseason Dak Prescott is the problem. You got to be able to show up when it's time. No matter who you play, especially being that you have seen these teams several times in the same place at the same time,
and most
over
of the time
and over and over again. And most of the time it's in Dallas. So I blame it on both of them. I blame it on the captain of the team, which would be Dak Prescott, and the overseer of the team, which would be Jerry Jones.
And if you in the church world, you bring it on, you blame it on the district superintendent and the jurisdictional bishop.
Yeah, I think both of them have a problem, but more so, I'll say 90% of Jerry Jones, because he has had the hardest time signing a bona fide head coach and a defensive coordinator. He's pretty much in a Bill Belichick role, but at a higher position. Bill Belichick was the head coach, but he acted as a GM. This guy's the owner, and he's acting as a GM.
No other owner in the NFL is being the GM. That's the only part of his business model that feels quirky, because no other owner, there's 32 of them. No other owner is the GM of that team. They got GM. That's why when it come down to hiring people, this is the time of year, especially right after the Super Bowl, people get hired. Right. That's why you see GMs getting hired, because the owner, all he want to do is sit back and collect the money.
Right. But no, Jerry got too much to say.
He's too hands-on.
Jerry want to be in the media. Jerry, he doing too much, man. Like,
he's a grumpy old man.
Like, it's really no need for him to have a head coach. He might as well just operate the whole team, be down there, downstairs with the players, because that's what I mean. Yeah. Even and Michael Parsons, I just he put out something about him having a conversation with Jerry Jones about the improvements of the team and how they could do better, and how he felt like, this is a Super Bowl team. It most likely they ain't gonna happen, because if Jerry Jones don't find it fit,
it's not.
If he don't have the yes man in place, then he ain't gonna do it. And it's been hurting them, man. So they'll continue to go 11, 12, and 5 and lose to a 7 seed. That's what it is.
Until they prove otherwise, that they could get over the hump. Yeah. Honestly, though, and God knows this is making my stomach turn saying this, but the Super Bowl looks better with the Cowboys in it, because they're a historical team. 49ers too, but the Cowboys, sometimes when you think of NFL, the first team that come to mind is either the Cowboys or the team in Washington or the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because those are three legacy teams. And the Eagles too, but those first three, those are what you call the long-standing teams. Mm-hmm. They was around before it was an NFL. Before the merger, they was around.
I was about to say, before they could be a doggone football, almost.
I mean, really though, like they was around. I think it was World War I. I know for the Steelers,
right? So yeah, it was kind of 1934. So yeah, or 36,
I think that was World War II. Then I think World War II was 45.
40, yeah,
so it was 45. So World War. Yeah, you're right. So it's crazy to me. They've had the success. That's what bothers me about the Cowboys and their fans. They've had the success
and still do. They got the team to do it, bro.
They got the team to break through.
They got the team to do it, but they ain't got the people in place to oversee them. I'm sorry, Mike McCarthy ain't the answer, bro. I'm sorry.
Mike McCarthy is too soft.
Like if you can't win a championship with Aaron Rodgers, and I'm sorry,
I give it to him. He won one, but that was on his defense.
Right, exactly. Because
that was on the defense.
We had the ball last. I'm still mad about that. But
Aaron Rodgers balled that year,
but he did. But still, though,
but he could never get back, even with Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. So, what makes you think he's gonna be able to do it with that? You don't want I wouldn't sign a guy that resume. And y'all tell me in the comments whether y'all will sign Mike McCarthy as y'all head coach. If y'all was on another team. I'm sorry. He wouldn't be my first choice. Now
he would not.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know how he interviewed, because sometimes it's about how people interview. You know what I'm saying? You might be a good coach, you may not be able to interview well. Right. So it's a lot of logistics that go into hiring somebody as a head coach. I understand that. But for what it's looking like right now, it's looking like y'all still doing the same old stuff that y'all been doing.
If you ever go to the pet store,
I'm gonna continue to clown y'all every time.
Right, every time they fail, we checking it out, because it ain't even about hating on the Cowboys. Like I said a few minutes ago, it's y'all fans. Yeah, y'all the ones that make y'all set it up.
Y'all that's gonna be commenting on this video. It's y'all.
It is y'all. I guarantee you. I think I'm gonna go ahead and thank y'all in advance for watching. And if you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with us, let us know as well. But it's y'all. Y'all are the enablers. Y'all still buying the jerseys. Y'all still buying the tickets, taking the stadium tours, buying AT&T phones because it's AT&T Stadium. Y'all doing all that. But when it comes time to win something, you got all that. Good. Y'all, most valuable team. Bravo. That's a feat that's never been done. But when it comes time to do it in between the numbers, more often than not, for almost 30 years, the Cowboys have pooped on the bed. They have pooped on the bed.
I'm sorry. Oh, have mercy, boy.
And I had to catch myself.
More
often than not. That point, y'all can, and then Cowboy fans, like I say, I'm not downing on y'all because y'all a fan, the word fan is short for fanatic. A fanatic is somebody that will follow it to the end. You understand? Good. So I'm not going to fault y'all, but so much because it still got to be done between the X's and O's. But I fault y'all for the public perception of your cowgirls.
Hello. Thinking, man, you'll think the Cowboys done won the last 5 Super Bowls talking to the Cowboys. Man.
You would have think they was in contention every year. They could be 5-11 back when it was a 16-week season, and you would swear they was in contention. By the way, the Ravens got a 4-1 record against y'all. Haha. But I'm gonna go ahead and we gonna go ahead and let it go right there. I think we spent enough time on them. You know, that team. Y'all need to do better. Y'all need to do better. But we're gonna go ahead and call it. So before we leave out of here, thank y'all for tuning in to the show. You know, as always, let us know in the comments what you think about what we just talked about. Who do you think is the culprit behind the 28, almost 30-year decline of the Cowboys? Also, to the ones that subscribe, thank you. We appreciate you jumping on this bandwagon with us, and we promise to bring y'all some quality content. What else I'm about to say? Oh, yeah. To the number 100 subscriber, we know you out there. We manifesting it right now, so we know you out there. Once we see that you subscribe, man, we got something for you. Or ma'am, whoever. Ma'am, sir.
Stop right there.
Yeah. Whoever. I ain't going to go down that road tonight. But,
go ahead now.
We going to... once you subscribe and we verify you and everything, we'll get in contact with you and get your Cash App, and we'll drop something nice for you, just saying thanks for being a part. And then the last week video, I think it was the Micah Parsons video. Y'all let that one ride too. Y'all did pretty good watching it. Appreciate y'all for doing that, man. Anything else you want to add, bro?
Not at all.
All right, we're going to slide out of here. This has been the Back Porch Podcast with your man, Fonz
and Quan.
And we out, y'all.